don't tell this story often. Most people either laugh it off or look at me like I'm crazy. But I swear on everything that happened, it's real. This was about 4 years ago. I had gone camping alone up in the Sierra Nevadas. It was supposed to be a weekend of solitude, just me, a tent, and the quiet. I've done a lot of hiking, so I wasn't worried. But the mountains have this way of making you realize how small you really are. The first day was fine. I set up camp by a creek, cooked some food, and watched the stars. By the second afternoon, though, I got too confident. I decided to leave my camp and go on a long hike without marking my trail. Stupid. I kept going deeper, telling myself I'd recognize landmarks, but the trees all looked the same, and when the sun started dropping, I realized I had no clue where I was. At first, I wasn't scared. I figured I'd just backtrack, but every direction looked wrong. The woods got darker fast, unnaturally fast, like the shadows were swallowing the light. By the time I admitted I was lost, the forest was already pitch black. That's when I heard it. It was faint, far off at first. A voice, at least it sounded like one. It called out, "Hello?" I froze. Out here? Miles from any trail? I didn't think anyone was around for at least 10 miles. I shouted back, "Hey, I'm lost. Can you help?" The voice didn't respond the way I expected. No, where are you? No, hang on, just... Silence for a few seconds. Then it repeated itself, the exact same way, like it was stuck on repeat. Hello? My stomach sank. Something about it was wrong. Too flat, too slow. I told myself I was imagining things and kept moving, picking a direction and sticking to it. My flashlight beam cut through the trees, and the woods were dead quiet. No crickets, no owls, nothing. That silence was worse than the voice. It made me feel like I wasn't supposed to be there. After maybe an hour, I saw movement up ahead. I nearly cried with relief. Finally, someone, a tall figure, was standing between the trees. "Hey!" I yelled. The figure turned toward me, but something was off. The way it moved, like it was learning how to rotate its head. Too slow, too stiff. It stepped forward into the edge of my flashlight, and my blood ran cold. It looked human, but not right. Its arms were too long, its shoulders hunched forward, and its skin looked stretched too tight over its body. The worst part was the face. It looked like a mask of someone I might have known, but blurred, like clay that had been half molded. And then it spoke. In the same flat, wrong voice. "Hello?" I bolted. I didn't think, I just ran. I tore through the woods, branches whipping my arms and face. I could hear it behind me. Not running, but moving steady, fast enough to keep up. Every time I thought I'd lost it, the voice would call again, always the same word, always too close. At one point I tripped over a root, and my flashlight flew out of my hand. The beam landed sideways on the ground, pointing back down the trail. That's when I saw it clearly for the first time. It was crouched just outside the beam's edge, bent low to the ground like an animal. But its eyes, they caught the light, bright, reflective, like a wolf's, and its mouth was hanging open, too wide, like the jaw had unhinged. Then it smiled. I grabbed the flashlight, screaming, and ran until my lungs felt like they'd explode. I don't know how long. It could have been minutes or hours. The forest seemed endless. Eventually, I stumbled into a clearing with a dead tree split down the middle. I collapsed against it, trying not to cry, trying to breathe. For a few minutes, I thought maybe I'd lost it. The woods were still and empty again. Then I heard footsteps, not running, just walking, slow, heavy. And then, my own voice. "Hey, I'm lost. Can you help?" It was mocking me, repeating exactly what I'd said earlier, word for word. I wanted to scream, but I forced myself to stay quiet. I switched off my flashlight and crouched down behind the dead tree, barely breathing. The footsteps circled the clearing. Sometimes they'd stop, and I could hear it sniffing the air like it was hunting. At one point, it got so close I could hear the creak of its joints. Something brushed the tree trunk inches from my head. I stayed there, frozen, for what felt like hours. Eventually, the footsteps moved away. The last thing I heard was that same word again, but softer, almost playful. "Hello?" When dawn finally broke, I stumbled until I found a dirt road. A ranger picked me up hours later, dehydrated and shaking. He asked if I'd seen any wildlife. I almost told him, but the look on his face told me he wouldn't believe me anyway. Since then, I've read a little about skinwalkers, about things that can mimic voices, things that lure you deeper into the woods. I don't know if that's what I saw. I just know one thing. Whatever it wasn't human. And sometimes when I'm alone at night, I swear I still hear it. That same voice, from the trees. Hello?